I'm going to show you 8 things that you're probably doing wrong in Notion, and by the end of this video, you're going to be saving time and you're also going to feel more fluid and efficient in the platform. So let's get started. The first area is relating to changing the block type in Notion. So instead of changing this piece of text by manually going in here with the mouse to change it, instead you can use a shortcut. And that shortcut is /turn. And then if I want to change this into heading 1, then there's my option, or I can keep typing and say H1, and now heading 1 is suggested to me and I can click it. So now this is heading 1. And you can keep changing it. If I want to change this into a toggle, I'll start again, so /turn, toggle. And now I have options. Either I can do a toggle heading or a toggle list. The second item is inserting emojis. So Notion allows you to do /emoji, and it'll bring up the box with all of the options. But what I usually do, it's much faster, is I just press Windows period, and this immediately brings up the window where the emojis are. You just have them all here, and you can even change to Latin characters and math symbols. The third mistake in Notion that I typically see is that people tend to add way too many properties to their database, rather than just selecting the ones that they need for that particular purpose. So what I like to do is ask myself, do I really want to add this property to this database? And do I even want to spend time filling it in whenever I add a new page to the database? Because if not, then there is really little point in adding this extra step. Now, of course, with Notion automations, this makes it much simpler, but still, even then, you can still ask, well, am I even going to track that piece of data? Do I even want that in my reports? When I look at my past analytics, is this data useful to me? The fourth mistake comes with not testing, not experimenting with Notion as you try to learn and master the platform. Many times, people will just watch a tutorial like this and then think that, a few days later they're going to remember the tips. But the thing is that if you're anything like me, your head is already full of responsibilities, of other interests, other projects you're working on, and unless you actually put these things into practice, it's likely you're going to forget the tips and advice. So I recommend that with any tutorial, and this goes for learning anything actually, is to actually build projects, experiment a little bit, and experiment not only what is being shown in the tutorial, but also what happens if you do it differently than the tutorial is showing. And this can bring you to new things that the tutorial might not have explained. And it just, it brings also a little bit of joy to your day because now you discovered something. This brings us on to the fifth mistake, which is not to find a true use case for Notion. So beyond implementing the items and advice from tutorials, you have to make templates and databases that are personally meaningful to you, that are specific to your interests. For example, I'm interested in filmmaking and writing, in video editing, in language learning, and so I've made databases and templates that are specific to those things. And in this way, I am able to add things that are really specific and are actually really useful to these specific cases. Otherwise, if I stay too general, then I'm adding a property, but I don't really have a true reason to add that property. Otherwise, I might be adding a button property, but it's not really too meaningful for me in that case. The sixth area that can improve your working with Notion is to use the shortcut Control-Shift-N, and this will bring you to another and new Notion page. Now, the second one also exists behind this, and all this does is that if you have a dual monitor setup, then you're able to put these two Notion pages on each side while you reference one and maybe compose a project on the other screen. This is Notion Web Clipper, which is a Chrome extension. Many people will just manually enter web pages into their Notion database, but Notion Web Clipper is going to save you so much time. Because if you find a page you like on the internet, you simply go to the extension, you pick where you want to store that page, and then you save the page. And then it's added to your selected page. And then you can open it in Notion. This is so helpful. So many times I find books on the internet or videos or articles, and I just want to quickly save them to my Notion database. I actually have a resource database that I store things from the internet, and this is just my database of all the things I've found on the internet that will be useful to me in some way. But Notion Web Clipper is a must-have if you are serious about using Notion. Completely free. It's also completely free. The 8th item that people tend to waste time in is going from an original Notion page to a new one, manually copying the URL, then going back to the original, pasting the URL, and this is all to have a direct link to that other page in Notion. Now, while linking directly to other pages in Notion is one of the absolute benefits, there's a much faster way to do this. In fact, there are a couple of ways. One, you can use the shortcut /link and says link to a page, so you can do that. And already it'll suggest to you the most popular pages in your database. So for example, if I, first actually are my favorites. So if I want something else, maybe I can start typing filmmaking, and here filmmaking page will come up. I click on it, and here's my direct link to that page. Another method you might use is the @ symbol and then start typing filmmaking. And again, now you have a direct link to that other page. And this is so much faster than going through this whole manual copy-paste method. If you liked these tips, I have made a PDF version of all of the problems and their alternatives, and you can find that in the description.